House of Representatives ad hoc committee investigating employment racketeering in MDAs on Thursday issued warrant of arrest on a former staff of Federal Character Commission and IPPIS desk officer. Mr. Kulu, who is now a staff of the Asset Management Company of Nigeria, AMCON, had appeared before the committee on July 7 over allegations bordering on selling of job slots. Mr. Kulu said he did in collaboration with the chairman of the commission, Farida Dankaka, during his appearance admitting to collecting money for employment on behalf of the chairman. He had also expressed fear for his safety as he said that Mrs. Dankaka should be held responsible if anything happened to him. Now, still with us to join us virtually is legal practitioner Barrister Eze Oluche, of course, and John Akirile, who is a public affairs analyst. Hello, John. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So it's not, one would say it's not out of place to hear that the Federal Character Commission still does what they do, where they sell job slots to people. You recall about 3 months ago, we had a situation where a particular colleague working with the ministries actually complained of one of his colleagues earning more than the level that he attained, and that he let that expose out, whereby the Federal Inland Revenue Service needed to conduct an internal investigation as to how monies are being given to persons who have not gotten to that level. Would you say that the Federal Character Commission, this is not the first time, is basically an internal behavior within the ministry?
I think for me, it's not only Federal Character Commission, it's a generic attitude in civil service.
Okay.
Let me ask you, Esther, in your own local government, when did you know that they are having recruitment? Have you ever in your entire existence know that, okay, my local government today
All right, we seem to be having a problem with quality. Okay.
For you to get
Hello,
the document
John.
stamp, you need to give me 50,000 naira.
Okay.
So if a secretary can be bold to say that to you, how much more getting job from that same ministry? It means that if you come through the secretary to the aide, to the PA, and then to the guy at the top, and that's how it runs. So if the guy at the top is forming that you don't know, my dear, it's a lie. They are all culprits in this, and because they know you don't get into the civil service like that, because they know that you are going to be earning from the government according to your level. And once you are in, you are in. You can't come up until you get to your time of retirement. And come together and see when something is bad is bad. Nigeria is the most religious country in the world and is the world capital of poverty. Then you ask yourself, so that's why I don't go by people swearing by any holy book, either Quran or Bible, or they even bring their pele or their traditional system. So I don't see that as an iota of truth. Why? Because we cannot even look at the level of when you have more people, who says that on Friday the mosque is filled up, and the multitudes of our leaders are there, and then they still get into office on Monday and they still come out with this bastard attitude, year of corruption, today year of embezzlement, year of misappropriation, and nothing is being done. The Senate recently embarked on a journey, to the East-West Road, and they found that nothing has been done on that road. And this is the same road that millions and millions of money have been allocated and approved and disbursed over the years. So the question is, we should become a country where people face consequences for their action. Until that time comes, nothing is going to happen. Now, Mr. Kolo, has absconded into thin air, and I hope it won't be the same case of like the wreck of Adamawa, who after declaring the wrong results, disappeared into the thing, and they said they could not find him. I'm sure it's nowhere, it's somewhere, and this is where we need the DSS more, to try and prove their proficiency in terms of fishing out that Mr. Kolo, that he can be arrested, and then he can be brought back to answer to head to roll. Names should be, be investigated, and how can he have such amount of money in his account as a civil servant? And I think that is caution. But don't also forget that it's not the only one. It's just only the channel through which the money go. So where is the money coming from? He is just collecting the money. But where does the money go to? How many sections does he divide the money into? Don't also forget, in terms of investigation also, go and check the flight routines of all these officers. How do they pay for their flights? Is it that it's from the agency expenditure book, or is from personal purse, or is from people like Olo who are in the ministry, who just pay for their business flights? And then you have the question: these flights you are paying for to Abuja, to Lagos, to Kaduna every weekend, and they pay for their hotel bills. The question is it from the same salary you are earning as a civil servant? The answer is no. So where is that money coming from? These are questions that should be answered. And that is why Mr. Koro is very, very instrumental. And it should be it should be brought back and then faced to answer questions so that we can serve as scapegoat to other people and the country on the right track where it ought to be. As it stands now, we are only making ourselves on a global stand. And that is really appalling for me as a Nigerian.
All right, quite unfortunate, John, that some of the things you started with were missed as we couldn't hear you at some point in the conversation. So we missed a few things that you said at the beginning of your points there. But can we divorce this job racketeering from special slots being given to certain government officials? You know, that is also a prevalent case. We have cases where ministers have slots, commissioners have slots, the senators have slots. Can we divorce them, or is it one and the same?
Now the question is this: if we go by this pattern is never helpful. This same thing is just like you saying handing 5,000 to people, and that will lead them out of poverty. It's not sustainable. If I have a senator who can nominate me, what about people who don't have a senator who can nominate them? And the point is, we are not choosing people into civil service based on competence and capacity. We are choosing based on slot. And so our productivity level is extremely low and poor. And if that is low and poor, it will affect our output. And if our output is also bad, it means that we are just a joking society. And that's what it means. So we must come to that point where we must understand that when people come into civil service, it should be about proficiency. It should be about their competence. It should be about capacity. So when they come into that office, they can do that which they've been appointed for, and they can deliver that kind of service to people. Ask yourself, General Hospital, what kind of service do you receive from the gate? That will tell you the kind of people who are employed in the system. If you go to a local government office and you want to get some documentation done, how do they attend to you? That will tell the kind of people, and they feel like you did not employ me. It's in Senator so and so that gave me slots, so you don't have power to sack me. Even if you sack me, I'll go back to my senator and then he will restate me. And so we are using that high-handedness, in nonchalant and unproductive people into the system. And that is even bringing us down as a people. So what I think we should do is that people who are competent, I don't care if you're from the north, you're from the south, or from the east or west. As a matter of fact, if you tick all the boxes, you should be given the job. Make sure that people do their job. Then also, there's also an agency that monitors the output of each parastatus. If at the end of the month, there's a monthly review of each agency of government, and you look at what they are doing, their output, if it's not meeting up, people should be sanctioned. People should be on the hot seat answering questions at your ministry. How come this ministry is not doing what they ought to do? Then also have a feedback mechanism from the people. So if people visit the general hospital, can you just give a toll line? Can you give a line where they can send text messages or WhatsApp messages to give a review of their experience was at the general hospital? How their experience was at the Alausa Secretariat, how the lands, Ministry of Lands, and estate planning. So if people get all this feedback to you, you can then see how you can put these ministries on their toes so that they can give due and good service delivery to the people. Then can we have a working society? But what we are doing now, we are still playing.
So what do you think will happen going forward if this investigation goes on, and in the case of job racketeering is proven, what do you think will happen to those who are found to have bought job slots in companies? What do you think will happen to them?
Mostly, nothing will happen to them. This is not the first time it's happening. We are in the same country when somebody was asked to face a panel and asked about the money that was given to him, and then informed that he's fainting, and he fainted, and they were trying to open his mouth. Where did that case end today? In the same country, you have somebody who is putting $5 in his agbada, and nothing is happening. So what we only see is just a media trial. People just come and then just entertain Nigerians, and after that, they say, "Don't worry, once you finish your show at the Senate meeting, they will invite you. We will say you have run away, and they will not find you. And after like 1 or 2 months, that story will come up, and they cover that story, and that's the end of it." And so it's even sending a wrong signal to other generations that are coming, and it shows that we are not serious at all. And that's why when you see people who are in the diaspora, they do not even look at Nigeria as a very serious country, so to say.
John,
so we must correct that impression because our image is important.
John, Mr. Kolo said he did it in collaboration with the chairman of the commission. So it's obvious that the Federal Character Commission, which is meant to allocate job neutrally, objectively across board, has become a very, would I say, corrupt system. So do you think, based on this expose, that particular ministry should be scrapped?
Esther, not only that ministry should be scrapped, Nigeria has overhauling. It's not only in that ministry. You go to the civil defense, they are there. You go to Nigerian police, they are there. You go to the military, they are there. Okay, if you are talking about scrapping the whole ministry, what about the Ministry of Nigeria Delta? Have you also forgotten the case of a vessel that was apprehended and a commodore, was leading that same vessel, a Togolese vessel? And then you ask a commodore, how come you are the one leading this vessel? Who gave clearance? The Navy. Since when did Navy become NNPC that they now give approval for you to go and take fuel from the crude petrol from the well? And so you see that it's a complex situation and it's a systemic error. And so when you see me as an analyst and I tell we have a systemic error, I know what I'm saying. It's a systemic error. And it's in every sector of the society. Okay, how come, even in education, how come lecturers will call you and tell you that he wants to have sex with you to give you mark? It's still happening, even though you have few cases of lecturers who have been, excluded. It's still happening. How come you have a case of a student who say there's a special center for WAEC? It's still happening today. Even in them, it's still happening. So it shows that at every area of our system, there is this act of negligence, ineptitude, corruption that is, and that for us to go ahead away from it, it must be seen from our leaders, that our leaders are not just sending prayers, rather that they are doing what they ought to do, and people is visible to the blind. That yes, our leaders are cutting down the cost of government, our leaders are being accountable, do what they ought to do. And that's when, you see, let me say to you, if you have a senator who is representing your constituency, who comes back at the end of every month, to give engagement to you as a constituent, you tell your next person in the office that yesterday our senator came to have meeting with us, I told him this and this and what you want from him. The other one that now their senators will call their senators out. Truly is about serving the people. So we need to start in that kind of era. But for now, we are not there. And for Nigeria can get it right. Maybe 300 years' time, maybe.
Quite an interesting scenario when we look at this. It's quite an unfortunate development, Mr. John Akerele. It almost feels like for the common man there is no hope, and these things will continue up and up no matter how much we talk about it. But it's our job to bring it here on the media so that we can continue to shed more light on this. What should be your final recommendation on that particular development within the federal ministries, departments, and agencies?
I think the first thing is that there should be consequences for actions. And when other people, because once there's no consequence for actions, there are other people who are at the lower level, who are also nursing this ambition. It's like somebody who is the secretary to the chairman, and he's looking at the chairman that, okay, even if I get the chairman, I will do worse. So if the chairman is being jailed for what he has done, he won't want to do the same. So I think, fortunately, that there must be harsh consequences for such actions, and the people should have all of shame in Nigeria. We should have all of shame. So these kind of people should have their name engraved in gold on all of shame, and they should be given national award of shame to their family, so that other people will understand. They can read from the family. That's this family that this person comes from, and then they will know that I don't do anything with that kind of family, because that's the family that has their name in all of shame. And then we can start, buying back that which we know as Nigerians, our integrity, our ethics, our morals, our values. And that is where we need to start from. So once we have consequences for actions, the next thing is that we should have people who are competent, irrespective of your religion, your tribe, your ethnic group. If you are competent, let's have them in leadership position. And if they cannot deliver, looking at the KPIs given to them, they should be removed, they should be replaced. And that will not be an offense to anybody. So I think that is what we need to work on. Another we need to work on is our own system of education. As it's going now, we need to have a total overhauling from our elementary down to the tertiary institution. It is not working, and this is not the way to go. If really we are ready for the future that we are all clamoring for. So I think if all of these things are checked into, then Nigeria can be on that right path where we can say, yes, we are going into a new Nigeria that we all envisage. But by God's grace, we'll get there.
All right. John, thank you so much for joining us on VOP this morning. We do appreciate your input on the program.
Thank you for having me. It's always my pleasure.
Up next is business, entertainment, and sports.
All right, going straight into business now. The fall of the Naira against the United States dollar, coupled with the recent rise in global crude oil prices, is making Nigerians apprehensive of a possible hike in the pump price of premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol. Although the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and other oil marketers have not announced any increase in petrol price, they confirmed that the scarcity of foreign exchange and crude oil price rise were key factors that determined the PMS price. Petrol price moved from 198 naira to a liter in May to over 500 naira a liter in June after President Bola Tinubu removed subsidy on PMS. Now the cost jumped again to over 600 naira a liter in July, and there were concerns that it might rise further in August, going by the crash of the Naira against the dollar. Now, the Naira dropped below 900 Naira against the dollar on Thursday at the parallel market. It also fell against the US dollar at the official importers and exporters forex window. Also on Thursday, Brent, the global benchmark for crude oil, was traded at about $87 per barrel. It traded for less than $80 per barrel a few weeks ago. Going into another business story now, the Nigerian Ports Authority and the Apapa Local Government Development Area of Lagos State have collaborated to boost water supply in the Apapa area of the state. The chairman of Apapa Local Council Development Area of Lagos State, Idowu Adejumoke Sembanjo, made the disclosure at the event to appraise her second year in office in Lagos. She stated that the local government would work with the NPA to further improve the provision of water for the residents. She, however, disclosed that the partnership between the NPA and the local government had achieved some good results. According to her, the administration, with the support of the Nigerian Ports Authority, has put in place some mini water works which have led to the provision of drinkable water. Sembanjo stated the local government had also partnered with various organizations, including the Lagos State Waste Management Authority, to improve the drainage system in the area. And that's the business stories that we have for you this morning. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll go into entertainment and sports. So